Hello again, whiskey friends. Thanks for joining today. So, for today's show, I'm going to go through my 5 favorite whiskeys of 2022. We just recently highlighted these on one of our live shows, so this is going to be the same list, at least for me. But if you want to see Kelsey's 5 and Darrell's 5, go to that live show. But this will just give me another chance to go through these, maybe give a bit more explanation to it. But we're going to go through those pours, and man, I am going to have a lot of fun reflecting on the amazing year that was 2022. So thanks for joining me, everybody. Let's kick off the show. All right. So one of the bottles on this list is in this glass today, and I'm going to be enjoying it as we go through this list together. And this is probably the most surprising pour that is on this list. And it's a rye. There's actually a couple ryes on here. It was a really good year for ryes. It was a sneaky good year for ryes. Well, let's start out with my number 5 bottle of the year. Now, I'm going to highlight bottles. Some of these are picks. Some of these aren't available anymore. There's a whole bunch of things going on. But what I really want to highlight on these, it's not about that particular pick. It could be about that entire vertical that I'm trying to highlight, that particular brand, that particular type of whiskey. So we'll get into that a bit. I realize some of these are either expensive, they're gone, they're not making them anymore, but there's still something to be learned as we go through these and go into 2023. Things to keep an eye on. All right. My number 5, with its beautiful sprinkles on top. These sprinkles get all over my bar every time I drink this thing. But what it is an Obtainium Canadian light whiskey. And this particular one was a group pick coming out of the Mash and Journey in collaboration with the Bourbon Wrench and the whiskeychannel.com. With a beautiful, beautiful brain candy inspired sticker on the back. Man, I love this pour. And it is, this is like the shocking part of it. It's 156.4 proof. And I'll just sip on this thing like it's candy. This particular one is also 26 years old. Now, the reason to highlight this isn't just to say, hey, here's this 26-year-old Canadian whiskey and it's great. I could go down the list of great light whiskeys I have had in the last year that are 14, 15 years old, heck, even a 6-year-old one. And man, when these even get finished in wine barrels, stout barrels, they are amazing. And I think we're going to get to the point where these things dry up. I really think this is probably the last year for it, is 2023, to be able to go out and get 14 plus year light whiskeys at $70, $80, $100. I think this particular one was a bit more expensive, but it is 26 years old. So I'm really trying to bring focus even to the entire light whiskey category. They are delicious. They are delicious, delicious candy. You should be getting into these if you haven't gotten to light whiskeys before. I'm starting to buy them and just put them to the side because just like the Knob Creek 14, 15 year picks, I expect these to go away. And then when they come back, they'll probably be twice the price, if and when they come back. So light whiskeys in general, great. I wanted to highlight this particular one. All right, let's go to number 4. So for number 4, all right, this one's maybe an obvious one, but I loved it more than I thought I was going to like it going in, and it beats so many other Wild Turkey products every time I challenge it. And that is the Russell's 13 year. I think this is the best thing that Turkey releases in general. I really love the Unforgotten. That would be in my top 10. I had to choose between Russell's 13 and Unforgotten, which one to elevate. I went with the Russell's 13. And on top of that, when I opened this, I also compared it to the Russell's 2002. which was a crazy expensive limited release when that came out. That's a 16-year Russell. This is way better. So that's the thing that just keeps coming back to me when it comes to this Russell's 13. And you can find some deals on it. I mean, I just saw a post today. Someone had their good old Costco picture, $75 for a Russell's 13 Limit 1. I wish my Costco's were that nice. But it probably goes without saying, this is probably already on your radar. But I think this is the best Wild Turkey product there is, and that's why it's one of my favorite pours of 2022. All right. The next one is actually what is in the Glen. This is the surprise one, and I struggled quite a bit on which one to highlight. And in the end, I think this is my dark horse, and it's my favorite. My favorite among many favorites coming out of this company in 2022. I'm going to take a sip before I reveal. Man. Oh, it's just beautiful finished rye. So this one, I'm going to highlight the 4-Gate Port Peri Peri. This one is a minimum of 8 years MGP rye that was then finished in tawny port casks. And it is cask strength. It is better than Midwinter's Night Dram. I've done comparisons to those two. Doesn't really hold a candle. Really, this is the best port finish rye that I've ever had. And I've got quite a few on this back counter because I love my finished whiskey. But the reason that this comes as a dark horse for me, especially with the 4-Gate, this was a great year of 4-Gates. If we expanded my list to top 10, top 15, you're probably going to have 4 or 5 4-Gate bottles on that list. I mean, I'm a 4-Gate fanboy. Okay, fine. I admit it. But they started out the year real strong with their split stay Boo Rye, with the Kelvin 4, the 4x4. We then got the Port Peri Peri. Man, I went through the Trilogy series. I'm pretty sure that was this year too. Gosh, what else? Oh man, the Andalusia Key. Man, I mean, this whole shelf here is 4-Gates. I could do a top 5 4-Gates of 2022. But this is the one I'm going to highlight. And you know what? I know you can still find this places online. It is pricey. It's $200. It is a special pour. It is a cask strength, better Midwinter's Night Dram. So if Midwinter is one of your favorite pours, I'm kind of saying if you need a special pour and you got the budget, go online, search it out. You can still find it. And it is lovely. It is lovely. All right. Number 2. So once again, trying to bring focus to this brand in general. You're running out of time to start getting on this bandwagon here. If you haven't already run out of time. This has been discussed all year. So hopefully you were able to get your hand on it while you were able to. The price is going to go up. I'll get into that in just a second. But the Lucky Sevens. So this is the 14-year proprietor. This particular one is a pick coming out of the Party Source. But the reason that I highlight this, I'm not saying just this barrel is my number 2 pour of the year. I have gotten to try, 4, 5, 6, 7 different single barrels over the course of this year, thanks to amazing whiskey friend OH. And every single one of them has pretty much been amazing. The thing that I have learned about them is I do aim for ones that are 130 proof or higher. 120 proof lower just come across as kind of stereotypical Barton. Get the kind of the same experience from Calumet or Sam Houston. When they get to 130 plus, though, I've heard people compare it to King of Kentucky. So it really starts getting elevated. There was one time I had a blind flight with multiple barrels of this in there, and all of them were good, and I actually didn't recognize that they were going to be all Lucky Sevens at the time. So just a great, great special pour. Now, the reason that you're going to run out of time on these, at the start of the year, I was getting these for 120, 130, then it went up to 140, then it went up to 160, and now I got a bottle on the way that was $200. The other thing that's happening is the one that's on the way isn't a Lucky 7 14-year proprietor. It's a Lucky 7 15-year proprietor. So those barrels that haven't been sold yet, that haven't been put in bottles, they're still aging. And now we're up to 15 years. The hype is up there. The price is going to follow. So with the Lucky 7, I do think this is just the constant lesson in whiskey. You know, there's somebody that always has a hot hand when it comes to old MGP, old Barton. They got a really good stock. And you got to be on the forefront of that wave to truly capitalize. Because if you're listening to me talk about it on the back end, you're probably already missed the mark a little bit, and it's going to be $160, $200 for a bottle, rather than the impression I have when it started at $120, $130. I still bought one at $200 though. Oops, this is recorded. Yes, so Lucky 7, number 2 pour of the year, and this one, gosh, this really defined my year in so many ways. So many great tastings. All right, the last bottle on my list. This is number 1. Dramatic pause. All right. If you've been listening to me here for the last couple months, you know what's about to happen here. I adore this pour, and I really hope they make more, because they have never made anything this good, this level. And that is the New Riff Malted Rye Sherry Finish. Every time I drink this, I go to a happy place. Every single time. And I've now gone through, 3-4 bottles of this. And this one's almost gone too. Now, when I say I've gone through 3 or 4 bottles of it, it's not from me drinking it. It's from me sharing it out to everybody that I can so that they talk about it. And my hope is that I can have this underground movement where I get everybody tasting it. And the New Riff's like, hey, people really like this. We should make more. You should make more. Make this all the time. Yearly release, multi-year release, regular release. Come on. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful whiskey. The 6-year malted rye in general from New Riff, that's more available than this one, was beautiful. Cask strength, finish, and sherry barrels. It is near perfection for me when it comes to a rye. It's probably my favorite rye of all time at this point. So I kind of went into it. The first time I tasted it, I was like, this is going to be my whiskey of the year. And that was back in May. And I've just been reminded that it's my whiskey of the year over and over again ever since. Now, caveat on this one. It's a rye and it's a malted rye. So could be a funky ride for some. This isn't most accessible one. But this was also the cheapest bottle on the list. MSRP even, the Russell 17, as I said, MSRP 75. Good luck on that. This one I got for 65. And yes, I just keep getting them every opportunity that I have. And I truly hope this is just batch 1 and there's multiple batches in the future. Come on, New Riff. Come on, do it. Do it. You know you want to. Okay. Well, that's it. That's my top 5 whiskeys of the year. Once again, I know some of these are very specific. They're group picks. They're allocated maybe. But the thing to keep an eye on in 2023 is if these things pop up again. I mean, gosh, Obtainium. Keep an eye on Obtainium. They are releasing new and amazing stuff all the time. And those older light whiskeys are going to run out. Then the Russell's 13. I mean, that's just an amazing pour. It's the best thing that Wild Turkey's come out with. And then keep an eye on what's happened with Lucky 7. Even at the 15 years, $200, it's not a crazy price, especially when we're comparing to something to King of Kentucky. King of Kentucky's what? $300, $350 retail? Let's not even talk about the secondary side of that. Ooh. But yeah, and then New Riff coming out against all these brands. Keep that train going, New Riff. All right, then the only other one that I just highlight one more time, the Four Gates. Excited to see what Four Gate has in store for us in 2023. Keep an eye on those batches, especially if you like Finnish whiskey. They have been just releasing hitter after hitter after hitter. They are expensive. They are $200 typically, creeping up to maybe 215, 220. But oh my gosh, have they been good? And they've been good for 3 years running now. And even as people play the sourcing game, the barrels are getting a bit younger. They figured out that Bourye, and that really hit in both the Kelvin 4 and in the split stave. So I'm already excited for Kelvin 5. That's probably my number one anticipated bourbon of 2023 so far. So thanks for joining me, everybody. And I'll catch you later. Bye, whiskey friends.